Hello and welcome to this episode of Kennedy Saves the World. If you know me, you know I love a bit of generational warfare. And of course, I do believe that Gen X is the greatest generation. And I will die on that hill with a bunch of other Gen Xers because, we had the best childhoods. We were technology free. We were feral children who were trusted to come home with our BMX gang when the sun had finally set in order to eat our dinner with our hands. And we didn't have helicopter parents, which we have turned into, and ruined the next generation that considers themselves to be the greatest generation because all they do is take things that every other generation has already done and rename them and kind of repackage them and try and foist them on everyone else as though they have invented these great ideas, which have been tried and tested throughout the millennia by their parents, grandparents, and ancestors who suffered through all sorts of pestilence and poverty in order to find better ways to live, usually through peasanthood. So, what are Gen Zers doing that they think they have invented? Well, there's a number of things. One, this new idea of cash-only weekends. The idea of taking money out from the ATM and only spending what you have. They believe this is a revolutionary concept because they have been raised in a digital world where they've always had social media and smartphones. And now everyone uses their smartphones to pay for everything. And anything you want at all times, whether it's DoorDash, Uber Eats, or Amazon, can be procured because your credit card is already embedded in the app. So it feels like everything is free, money is theoretical, and then when your credit card bill comes and you can't pay the minimum, people tend to get into deep yogurt, especially if they already have student loan debt because they decided to go to private colleges with crappy majors that have no return on investment. So yes, it is better to pay with cash if that's what you want to do, if you are on a tight budget, because then you can see physically and feel exactly what goes out. You did not invent this. That's all Gen Xers had. We didn't have credit cards. We didn't have smartphones. We didn't have Apple wallets. We didn't have Google Pay. We didn't have any of that. We had cash, usually what we had to work for or what we found rifling through the couch cushions and old winter coats, hoping that there would be a wrinkled up $5 bill in there. That was the ultimate find, but you have an entire generation that has been raised in a cashless society, so they assume that that's normal. And this new invention of actually going to the ATM and only spending what you have, these are also the people who think that they have also invented something pretty great by making coffee and food at home. Like it just occurred to them that maybe they shouldn't go to Starbucks every day and order a panini and an iced coffee with sweet cream cold foam for $14 every single day, and then they can't figure out why they don't have any money at the end of the week to pull out of the ATM. And, this is something that I tell younger people who are either interning or just starting at Fox, make your own food. Bring it to work. I've got food in my bag right now. I've got leftover gluten-free lazy lasagna and a kale salad from last night's dinner that will now go to nourish my soul into the 5 and Gutfeld today because I don't have time to go out to an expensive food truck or across the street to Chick-fil-A and get something when I know exactly what's in the food that I already made. If you have younger people who are getting into the Maha movement, then make your own food and you will know what's in it so you can follow your macros, bro. But yes, you did not invent the idea of making coffee at home. In fact, remember the lady was like, well, Jim never has another cup of coffee at home. Maxwell House. Yeah. So yes, don't be a dum-dum. For $10, you can get a bag of coffee, and if you're smart, stretch it out over a couple of weeks, and you will be ahead of the game. A game, once again, that is not of your own invention.
Don't go anywhere. More Kennedy Saves the World right after this.
The other thing Gen Zers are starting to realize that if you stay up late, you'll be very tired the next day. So they believe that they have invented the trend of getting up early and going to bed early, which is something your grandparents have done for a long, long time. And anyone who exercises, who has worked an early shift, knows the only time there is peace and quiet is early in the morning, either right before or just as the sun is coming up, depending on the time of year. And that is the best time to maximize exercise, which fuels you throughout the day, stabilizes your blood sugar, improves your sleep. But Gen Zers came up with the term 5 to 9, meaning you get up at 5, you go to bed at 9. It's a great schedule. And it's really good for your body. It helps you not only maximize daylight, but also put you on a regular schedule throughout the week, which is, as you know, when you get the best sleep, when you have a typical time where you go to bed that is uniform throughout the week. And that way you maximize your circadian rhythms. It puts you in a good zone to make sure you're getting consistent exercise, and it makes you sexy. These are things that any morning person has known for a long, long time. I still believe, and I know there are people who push back against this, I still very much believe there are morning people. I used to be a very late night person. I no longer am, but I do like to get as much sleep as possible. So now I go to bed much, much earlier. So if I do have to get up early in the morning, I'm not groggy. I feel pretty good. And, a consistent schedule is something that a disciplined person have. And the older Gen Zers are starting to realize that if they want to succeed in the workforce, they will have to have some level of discipline. But you're also dealing with a generation of people who have been convinced that they have to talk about their feelings constantly. They have to talk about their trauma. They don't necessarily have to overcome it. They just have to broadcast it constantly. So their feelings take priority over challenging themselves and overcoming anything. So that means that when their feelings are feeling intruded upon, they have to go bathroom camping. And you're like, oh, what's bathroom camping? They go into the restroom and doom scroll on their phone until they feel better about the world as a way of dealing with their social anxiety, which is something that only grows and grows and grows when you talk about your social anxiety without actually getting a diagnosis or treatment for it. So yes, bathroom camping is when you go in the bathroom and look at your phone, even when you don't have to go little or big potty. They just stay in there until they feel better about the world. And then they look at TikTok and Instagram Reels. And when they feel better, they go back outside. And then they realize they're addicted to their phone. So then they come up with a brilliant concept that people knew long before smartphones. And that was dumb phones. That there were people here at Fox who were chained to their BlackBerries. It was much easier to type out an email or a text on a BlackBerry because it actually had a QWERTY pad. If you have hot dog fingers like me, you are constantly typing the wrong word into your iPhone, and it comes out, what the duck. I don't talk about ducks, but it loves to autocorrect to duck. So yes, now Gen Zers are talking about dumb phones as though they invented the concept of a phone that doesn't give you access to every piece of information that has ever been thought, broadcast, or written in human existence, all in the palm of everyone's hand. So even though they want to go doom scroll in their bathroom camping, I don't know how they're going to give up on that. They'll probably just figure out a way to have two devices, and they'll come up with a silly nickname for that as well, which is something that most people with really demanding jobs already have. All right, so there you go, little generational warfare. If Gen Zers come out and proclaim it, just know, Gen Xers, you've already been there, done that, and you probably did it better. This has been Kennedy Saves the World. I'm Kennedy.
Listen ad-free with the Fox News Podcast Plus subscription on Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Prime members can listen to this show ad-free on the Amazon Music app.
Oh, go ahead and leave me a review while you're there. I'd love to hear what you have to say. You've been listening to Kennedy Saves the World on the Fox News Podcast Network.